Hi golfers, Nick here for Nick Taylor Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, I'm going to share with you golfers out there how this golfer beat his best score by 20 shots in less than 4 months. So this is one of the best transformations I've had in my time here at GOLFTEC, so I thought I'd share with you what happened, what drills we worked on, what changes we made to help improve this golfer. So on the left hand side, this is where we started 4 months ago. You can see that his arms are bending, he was tending to thin the shot, he used to hit the ball at the heel, he used to shank the ball as well. On the right hand side here, you can see the compression of the golf ball, the arm straight, the weight on the left. What a massive difference this made to this golfer to reduce his best score by over 20 shots. So in today's video, we're going to go step by step, lesson progress, what I did with this golfer, show you the drills that I did to help you golfers out there play better golf. So lesson one, on the right hand side here was the original golfer's swing. So you can see in the backswing here, he used to sway through this yellow line. You can see how much his knee has moved inwards as well. So the more you sway in the golf swing, the harder it is then to control the low point. So as you come back down into the golf ball, his tendency was to hit from behind the golf ball. You can see his head positions back, his lower body weight's not far enough forward, and as a result, his club is going to hit the ground before the ball. So he had this tendency of bending the arms, and that just makes it really hard to be consistent at golf. So in the stack and tilt golf swing, using the motion numbers here at GOLFTEC, we try and help the golfers improve their low point control. So this is where we started. We had to try and improve this golfer's ability to hit the ground further forward. We know that the best golfers in the world hit the ground after the ball, so you can't possibly do that if your weight is back. So the first thing was to improve his sway in the body. So in the right hand side here, we worked on some movements in his swing to help him reduce his sway. So you can see the difference from the original video in the start of the lesson to where we got to the end of this lesson. So this was all about trying to move the body in a different way. So I'm going to show you guys now what we did in the lesson to help improve this movement. But you can see as you come into impact here, you just have more chance then of hitting the ground after the ball. Arms are still bending, still a lot more to do, but certainly improving the sway really helped this golfer control the low point a lot better. One of the most important things you have to do when you change your golf swing is know where to start. So with this golfer here, I knew that working on his sway of his body, especially with his lower body, was really going to help us later on down the line, and also with his low point control straight away. So we saw the sway in the backswing. So the advice that I gave this golfer was to learn how to use his lower body. So in the golf swing, if you put your arms by your side, if you allow your left knee to flex forward, the back trail leg to straighten, that will help you change your knee flex and turn your hips on a tilted angle. We saw in the golf swing, this particular golfer, as he moved back, he kind of moved his knee inwards and his hips sway through the line, and then by the time he hits the golf ball, he's still behind it as he hits the ball. So the way you move your lower body is so key, and a lot of golfers are taught to, when they first start, to move their weight to the right and then back to the left, and that just makes it really hard to control the low point control, which is one of the most important fundamentals in the golf swing. It's the first key fundamental in the stack and tilt golf swing, is controlling the low point of the swing. So learning how to move the hips without swaying is a vital part of that. It can help you swing the arms around the body to keep the club on plane and to draw the golf ball, and it can also help you control the low point. So in that first lesson, I showed him how to move his legs, how to flex his left knee forward as opposed to breaking it inwards, and that made a dramatic difference. So if you're practicing this, practice just without a club to start with, just trying to get that feeling of the knee flex changing, and then with the golf club try and replicate that same feeling, and as you do that, just some small slower swings, just brushing the ground, just focusing on where that club hits the ground. So it's so important that first of all you don't sway in the backswing. Some players sway a little bit as they start, but by the time they get to the top of their backswing, they're certainly not swaying off the golf ball, and then by the time they hit the golf ball, every good player, and that's every golf player that plays on the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, that in the history of the game, they all have their weight forward at impact, so the hips are further forward than where they started. Their head's pretty stable in the same position, and this golfer just had all of those things out of sync. He swayed off the ball, his weight was back at impact, and that's what caused him to flex those arms. If he didn't flex those arms, he'll be chunking the ball and hitting a foot behind the golf ball because of where his body weight is. So first thing you need to learn in the golf swing is how to control your weight and the sway of the body in the backswing to help you maintain those positions further forward at impact. So moving on to the next lesson, once we've controlled his sway in the golf swing, which is obviously a very important part of controlling the low point, we started to work on the swing plane. So the swing plane is very important. The golf club's designed to swing on an angle. As we set up here, as you can see, this yellow line is angled to the ground. So the golf club is designed to swing on an arc around the body. Now, as this golfer used to swing down into the downswing, he used to come slightly over the top, slightly from out to in, and generally he tended to sort of pull the ball, just not really hit it very far. So in this lesson we use the noodle there to try and help him deliver the club slightly more on the inside. So you can see by the time he gets into the downswing here, he's keeping that club a lot closer to that yellow line and swinging more around his body. So this training aid here is a really good one to help with the swing plane. I'm going to show you guys another way you can practice this to help you swing the club a little bit more on the inside. The next thing we worked on was to move the hands more inwards around the body, which is a key part of hitting the golf ball and swinging on plane and being consistent. So the training aid that we used in this particular video was the Tour Striker Plane Station, one of the most popular training aids here that I use. It just has different angles to stick alignment sticks in to help you train the plane of your swing. Like I've said in previous videos, if you don't have one of these but you do have access to grass, then you can just stick an alignment stick in. I like to use the noodles here in the bay because these do get hit. The alignment sticks do get hit. Alternatively, you can place a noodle and just angle it along the side of the ball, or a head cover, or any soft object, and just place it alongside the ball. It does the same thing, right? But this importance of this lesson was the inwards component of the hands, not only in the backswing but also into the downswing. So let me set this up. So behind me here I've set up the noodle, set it at 55 degrees. The angle you set the alignment stick or the noodle is basically the angle of the golf club, because this is the angle we're trying to swing on. So we have something called the grid, which is the lines here on the mat, and these just show the angle that the hand should move around the body and the angle the club should move around the body in the backswing and the downswing. Having some obstacle there really gives you some feedback when you're practicing. And I think that's so important when I'm coaching players to train the hand path, the swing plane in the downswing and in the backswing. Having some obstacle there is quite key for that, just to get some awareness for the golfer. So when I set this up, it's kind of angled on my right shoulder, and the first thing I would do is get that golfer to practice swinging under the noodle first of all. Now this is quite key when you're changing your swing, that you kind of work on these pieces in order. So the first thing was to control the sway and the weight of the body. Now we're starting to control the hand path in the backswing and the downswing. So having some obstacle, whether it's a noodle or alignment stick or something laying down next to the golf ball, just to help you train an inward path inside of the golf ball. In the stack and tilt golf swing, we don't promote you to swing too excessively inside to out, but should be enough to draw the golf ball. So let's hit a shot here. So I've got the noodle set up. For me, this should be pretty straightforward to swing and avoid it and still hit a little draw. So that's the next stage. If you're able to keep your sways forward, keep your weight forward, move your lower body in the right fashion, not sway off the golf ball, you're going to find it a lot easier to move the hands and the club around the body. You try it. If you keep your weight to the left, much easier to move around the body. As soon as you start swaying, it just makes it a lot harder, and then that low point control becomes even more erratic. So keep the weight forward, move the hands and the club around the body on plane, on the arc, to help you keep the club on plane and hit more consistent golf shots. The next lesson was all about keeping the arms straight. So in this lesson we focused, as you can see here, on a slightly shorter swing. You can see on the original swing he started to bend his arms, and that was a lot of down to the way he used to sway his body. It makes it a lot harder to keep your arms straight the more you sway in the golf swing. So we practiced some kind of like half swings here. You can see the difference as he moves through impact here with the arms, moving the weight forward, moving the hips forward, bending backwards, keeping the arm straight. So I'm going to share with you guys now the drills that we did to kind of move this golfer into this position on the right with his weight more forward and his arms a lot straighter. So this next stage we worked on his arms. Now if you remember back to the first lesson, his arms were bending because his low point was back. Now we've worked on his sways, we're now swinging on plane. Now we're able to start to work on the arms. Now this is why it's important that you get help from either a GOLFTEC or a stack and tilt instructor in person or online, because they can help you, give you a structured way of progressing. There was no point in me working on this golfer's arms in lesson 1 because he'd still hit a foot behind the golf ball. So now's the time, right? He's got his weight forward, he's not swaying, he's swinging around on the arc. Now we're able to now keep his arm straight and be able to help him strike the golf ball and move the low point further forward. So the drills for this, you saw the difference in the original swing and the swing from this lesson. So we actually started off with some shorter swings, just swinging up to position 3, left arm parallel, keeping the left arm straight, moving the hips forward, and then swing to position 8, which is where the right arm's parallel in the finish. At this point here, I'm working on making sure the golfer extends his body. One of the biggest issues and one of the biggest reasons golfers flex their arms is because as they move forward, they kind of keep their chest downwards. If you look at the best golfers, they extend, they push their hips forward, bend backwards. At the same time, they're also moving their right shoulder downwards. So the drill for this one was to swing to left arm parallel, right arm parallel, bend backwards, push the hips forward, and move the right shoulder down. So this was the key to keeping the arm straight. We did do some practice using the smart ball as well, but this was kind of the best drill that we found for this golfer. So keeping the weight forward, moving the hands in. P3 to P8, bending backwards, right shoulder down. This was the best drill I found to help keep this golfer's arm straight. Now, like I said, all these parts are linked in. There's no point in keeping your arm straight if you don't have your weight forward. And also, that also links into his swing plane as well. This golfer tended to swing outside of the golf ball and tended to hit the heel. So the more off plane you swing, again, the more difficult that is to keep your arm straight, because his likelihood is going to hit it even more out the heel. So this golfer kind of structured progress now. Weight forward, no sway, hands in, arms straight. Now we're starting to extend and bend backwards in the finish. So we're starting to build the golf swing here. Even if it's from position 3 to 8, we're starting to really build those movements and progress this golfer's technique. We use video all the time when we're doing this, just to make sure he gets the right feedback. I've said to you guys before, when you're practicing, have some sort of visual feedback. Even if you're practicing without hitting golf balls, just having some feedback, have a mat to hit on the ground, something where you can just video your swing even without golf ball. I know I work with a lot of you guys online, and sometimes I get videos sent and they're not even hitting golf balls, which is fine. That's a good way of training the movements. If you can train the movements, you're going to play better golf. So now I'm going to show you guys the most recent lesson just before this golfer had his best ever round of golf. So at setup here, not too many differences, but check out the swing as we go back. So we've worked on over these weeks, keeping his weight forward, not swaying, keeping his arms straight, swinging around the body on an arc, on the correct swing plane. Look at the difference here in his wrist angle as he comes down. Okay, much more powerful on the right hand side. We're going to look at this from the side view in a second. Huge difference here at P6. Coming into impact, you can see his head position and his lower body movement and his arm straight. So you can see big difference here at impact. This is one of the best changes I've seen in such a short period of time. This golfer practices a lot, comes for his lessons most weeks, and put the time in to get better, and it really pays off. You can see the difference here as he moves through. So the arms are staying straighter, the body weight's moving towards a target. So he's like kind of put all these things together, which is not easy. It takes practice, takes dedication to do it. Let's take a look at the side view difference as well. So here we are on the side view here. So in the original golf swing, you can see it was a little bit short, he swayed off the ball. We've worked a lot on his wrist angles, which we're going to talk about in a second. You can see he turns his body more, the swing's longer. Check out this downswing position here. So you can see we saw the front view of the wrist angles. Now he's keeping that club head slightly more parallel to the yellow line, so more on plane. Keeps the club head just in line with the hands at this stage, so he's delivering that club nicely from the inside with the arm straight and the weight forward. So big difference here, and then you can see on the exit, you can see the club appear and the follow through rather than the left elbow. So huge change there from this golfer. And now this is in the most recent lesson here, so we've just seen the swing. And this was a huge breakthrough for this golfer. We've kind of built his swing up over time, he's practiced it, but now it was really trying to put it all together. And this sometimes is the hardest thing, right? You've changed all these different pieces, but you've still got to put it all together. So practicing is important, practicing the right things in the right order is important. Now, in this golfer's swing, he came to me in this particular lesson and he was struggling with the club path still. Now, in this particular lesson, I didn't use the noodle. We'd practiced that before, but I wanted to see what he could do without the noodle this time. We'd done plenty of practice with it. So this golfer's lesson, he started taking the club slightly inwards, and then he was coming slightly over the top. So we saw the after swing here from that lesson, a huge difference, and the huge difference in the wrist movement as well. So we worked first of all at the top of his backswing, trying to make sure we got the bends correct in his wrist here. So at the top of the swing here, we had the right wrist bend, and in the downswing, I was trying to get the feeling of kind of dropping that club or shallowing it out on the way down. This was a really good feeling for him. So it kind of felt like he had this big loop in his golf swing. So I just said to him, try and show me the biggest loop. So try and swing the most out and then drop it the most under. So he did this swing. And he felt, oh, that felt very exaggerated. We take a look at it on the video and it's like bang on plane. There's hardly any deviation from the plane line. So that was a kind of a breakthrough for him, and he kind of set his wrist better at the top. Then as he started down from the side view, as he's shallowing out the shaft here, from the front view, you can see the difference in his wrist bends. So he had that appearance of creating more lag in the swing. So by shallowing it out, he had more lag. In his original golf swing, his elbows were bending. He was wasn't bending his wrist back enough, and he was starting to cast it and come over the top. So he didn't have this bend here in his wrist, and that was kind of a big difference. You could even see in the downswing as he got down to P6 where his hands were, and this kind of led to a better impact position with his handle further forward, his weight further forward, and arm straight. So sometimes when you're practicing your swing, you can try and do exaggerated moves to try and get to where you want to get to. So even though we had this feel of a big loop in his swing, kind of like the opposites of what he did when he came in this lesson, it's got the club back onto plane, backswing and downswing. It looked almost perfect, but he felt like he was taking a big loop. So sometimes in your swing, you want to make changes, you have to exaggerate things. So for this golfer, we bit outside, drop it back in, look at it on the video, and then we hit some shots. And crazy difference that made to this particular golfer, and then consequently he goes out and shoots his best round of golf the next week. So guys, just before I drink the rest of this English breakfast tea, I just want to show you on this mug here. This is my stack and tilt mug, and it amazes me how this system just helps so many golfers every day. So when you take a look at this mug here, we've got the 10 words hashtag and grid life drawers built in that goes around the top here. Now in the pictures here, I just want to show you guys this. So the first one there is weight forward, and this is what we worked on in this golfer swing. Keep his weight forward, don't sway. The next one as we rotate round was shoulder down, which is something that we didn't have to necessarily work on, but it's something I work on every day with golfers in the bay here. The next one is hands in, and that's us working with the noodle. The next one as we come around here is arm straight. So we worked on trying to keep his arm straight, but we had to get his hips forward or his hips tucked in the swing. So they're the 10 words of the stack and tilt golf swing. I've done plenty of videos on this, and it's amazing now. At the end of every lesson, I'll kind of leave golfers with a couple of simple thoughts, and generally they're linked to these 10 words. So this golfer that I'm working with now, I could give him probably 8 of these words, and that's basically what we've worked on over the last few months. But obviously it takes a lot of practice, a lot of repetitions to improve your golf swing. So I'd be interested to hear you guys out there if you've improved your golf swing, if you've had any dramatic swing changes that have resulted in huge reduction in score. I'll be really interested to hear how you guys went about that, how long it took, how many lessons it took. Certainly, every golfer is a little bit different. Some golfers take longer than others to really make these amazing changes, but certainly very fortunate to use the stack and tilt golf swing in the bay here at GOLFTEC to help golfers improve on a day-to-day basis. And it's amazing how powerful those 10 words are to help you play better golf. So thanks for watching, golfers. I really enjoyed making today's video. It's great to share progress of my students with you guys out there, because I know a lot of you out there are improving every day using the stack and tilt system. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next week for another video.